Rev up your engines! Today I'm going to show you how you can detect and repair noises in your car. Now, sounds can often be hard to figure out where they're coming from because sound travels all over the place. This particular sound listening device is an electronic stethoscope. It's a Chinese one. Here you can see the name. I can't even tell what the name is because they're so absolutely moronic when it comes to writing their name with fancy characters. Look at it. What is that? Algason, Ailson? Who knows? Use regular letters, people. We can see what it means. So if you want to sell us another one, you don't know what it is, right? Well, I bought this on Amazon. If you go to Amazon, you'll find a million of these things. Here you can see. It's only 40 bucks. They all work the same. And it didn't come with these fancy headphones. Those are just my own. I use because they're more comfortable and they work better. But, hey, I got one of these here in Rhode Island. I got one in Tennessee. Neither of them have broken. I've dropped them on the ground. They've been rained on, so they work perfectly fine. They're really good electronic stethoscopes. And as you can hear, when I put them next to the microphone, they pick up all kinds of noises quite well. So if you hear noises but you can't be sure where it's coming from, you just start placing the end around. Maybe you hear a bearing noise. You can't tell. Is it the alternator, the water pump, power steering pump? You just place the device on each one, and when you get to the loudest noise that sounds the same, that's where it's coming from. It's a phenomenal device. Doesn't cost much, and they work quite well. Maybe you got a fuel injector that's ticking. You don't know which one? Check each one in a row. The one that's making all the noise, that's the bad one. But what if the noise only occurs when you're driving down the road? Well, unless you're game to be having someone drive down the road while you try to figure out where the noise is coming from, you need another noise detecting machine. There it is. I'm the one that painted noise detector on it, if you can't tell. And there it is. Comes with 6 sensors and a control unit. It's more expensive, but it's only 59 bucks, and it works quite well. Now, it costs a little bit more, but really it's not that much money, right? Now, if you look at my videos, years ago I made one with a wireless system to find noises in the car. But that wireless system, the price keeps going up and up. Now it's over 300 bucks. And I find that this cheap $59 one works perfectly fine. I've been using mine for about 3 years now. And as far as I'm concerned, I like it better because it's wired. The wireless ones often, you'll get interference, you get sound that's created from interference. This doesn't. It's a simple clamp that clamps onto the device that you think's making the noise, and then you'll be able to both hear it and see it. You see those lights? The lights will pick up stuff too. Look at that. It's even picking up my voice. That's how sensitive this thing is. Now, you can make it real sensitive, so it hears it, or we can set it down so it doesn't bother it as much. You can set it to figure out what the noise is by looking at the colors. So let's say you're driving on the road, you're getting a roaring noise. You think maybe it's a wheel bearing or is it the transmission? You just put a few of those sensors in the area you think the noise is coming from. The kit comes with 6 of them, and of course it's inexpensive, so I labeled each one myself with paint. This is number 3, right? So I remember which number is where. So when I scroll through it, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'll know where the noise is coming from. Now when you clamp the little clamps on and the wires go back to the unit, you can either use twist ties to hold the wire in place, or my favorite, Gorilla Tape. Now I used to use duct tape, right? But I gotta say, this Gorilla Tape, it holds better, it lasts longer, so I use Gorilla Tape. Now when you're done, you just either cut this off, or if you use tape, remove the tape. You wouldn't believe the amount of times I've used this device, and I have the same exact one in Tennessee. I got one on each side. Well, I can hear where that noise is coming from even without these. It's a burglar alarm going off. The usual, there's nothing wrong, but the burglar alarm goes off. You wouldn't believe the amount of times that I've used this device to find problems that other mechanics guessed replaced very expensive parts. I've seen people replace a transmission, saying, well, the transmission's making noise, you got to replace it. And then what do you find out is, you find out that it's the axle bearing, not the transmission itself. These machines are great for pinpointing where noises are coming from. Now let's say your car has one of the most annoying sounds out there, and that you're driving down the road in the highway, you hear all these whistling noises because there's an air leak somewhere, right? Well, now these machines are good for contact noises, bearings, things like that, but they're not going to really pick up wind noise. Sometimes the seals on the doors go bad, sometimes the seals on the windshield, sometimes you get a crack or something like the seal behind your mirror's gone bad and that whistles. So that's when your cell phone comes in handy. Just put it on record, find out where the microphone's coming on this, and while you're driving down the road, have someone else go all through the car filming and recording the sound. Then when you play it back, you can pinpoint where that air sound is coming from. Phones are very handy devices. You can just use a pure recording if you want, but my advice is do it with the camera too, because then when you hear the loud noise, you won't say, gee, I wonder where it was pointed at that time. You'll see the picture and you'll be able to see exactly where the sound is coming from. Now some sounds are easy to find, like a squeaky door, but how do you fix them? Well, nothing beats white lithium grease for squeaky doors. White lithium grease is made for lubricating metal on metal applications. You can buy whatever brand you want, doesn't really matter. Bury the hinges top and bottom. You want it to soak in real good. Pretty thick stuff, right? Do the slider. And of course, do the bottom hinge too. I work it back and forth a few times. Squeaks in the binder will go away. You can do all 4 doors. And don't forget the trunk hatch or your trunk if you don't have a trunk hatch. It's real important because these things will rust and then they're a real pain because you can see, look, these babies are welded into the car. If that weld breaks, you're kind of screwed. Good luck taking all that apart, right? A simple little bit of spray, keep them going for years like mine. Now one of the biggest complaints I get from people are squeaky brakes. Now squeaky brakes can be many things. If the brake pads are worn out, they got a little squealer, or if they don't, the metal will hit the rotor and make horrible screeching noises. All you gotta do is check them every once in a while. These are still really thick. They're about this thick. If they get thinner than like a dime, then you better change them right away. But these days, since years ago they made asbestos illegal in brake pads because asbestos causes lung cancer, right? But asbestos was really good because it stopped cars' dissipated heat and it didn't make hardly any noise until you got down to the bare metal. Well, those are illegal. A lot of brake pads, especially the cheaper ones, squeak because, believe it or not, they're actually too hard. And the squeaks that you hear come from the brakes are actually a high-pitched vibration because they're so hard, they stay on and they just vibrate because they're super hard. Softer ones will lay in better and won't make any noise. One reason you don't want to buy cheap brake pads. But now realize this, if the brake pads are thick and they're making a noise, and there's no scoring on the rotors, they're all smooth. If you don't care about the noise, go ahead and live with it. But if you do not like brake noise, make sure you get quality brake pads. For years, I've been using this Japanese company, Akebono, A-K-E-B-O-N-O. They make brake pads for all kinds of cars. And they're ceramic brake pads, even though they cost a little bit more, but it's only 15 or 20 bucks usually, right? They are great. They don't make much noise at all. Stipulate you want quality pads if you care about noise. Now, if you're a real cheapskate, you go to AutoZone, you can buy the cheapest brake pads they have. They'll stop the car, but they'll probably either make noise now or some of the cheap ones have a coating. And they won't make noise for a little while, but then when the coating wears off, they squeak like mad and drive people crazy. So, now you know how to check brake pads, and deciding on how much noise you can stand, you know what to do. In the first place, use quality pads. Then you probably won't get any noise. Akebono pads, I never see them make noises, so I tell people, you want to pay a little bit extra, buy these. The noise will be gone. And there's another tip about road-related noise. Let's say you're driving on the road, you hear a noise, and you stick your head out the window, and you say, okay, I know it's coming from the left front of the car. How can I tell if it's the wheel bearing or if it's just the tire? Because theoretically it could be either one of them, right? And I've seen people spend over $1,000 changing wheel bearings in the front, and the noise was still there. If you are sure, you got some other people in the car, they're sticking their heads out and say, yeah, the noise is coming from the left front or the right rear, whatever. Try this first. If the noise is coming from the left rear, put the left rear tire on the left front, put the left front tire on the left rear. If the noise moves to the front, you know it's just the tire. You wouldn't believe how many cars I stopped that had road noise by just doing that, rotating tires around and finding, oh look, this particular tire is bad. And of course, if you just have a normal car like this that's front wheel drive, you want to buy tires in pairs because you want the tires on each drive axle to match. You don't want to have one that's got more tread on one versus the other. If it's in the front, it can screw your transmission up because it's trying to equilibrate between a tire that's one size and a tire that isn't. And if it's in the back, you might have control issues when you corner. So always replace tires 2 at a time if you got a bad tire. Except if you have one of those all-wheel drive vehicles, a lot of the modern fancy ones are all-wheel drive, you got to replace all 4 tires because that system uses, most of them these days, computers, electronics, hydraulics, to make the tires all spin the same. If you've got different size tires on any corner of the car, it'll have to keep trying to equilibrate things in that part of the car, in that transfer case, and that differential, whatever. And it will prematurely wear your transmission out, or your transfer case. It will wear out early because one side's bigger than the other, so it's always trying to equilibrate to make them spin the same. You got to buy all 4 tires with an all-wheel drive vehicle when they go bad. That's one reason I tell people, if you aren't sure that you really need an all-wheel drive vehicle, just get a 2-wheel drive vehicle, right? And people say, oh, the snow. The snow, if you have a front-wheel drive vehicle and you put snow tires on the winter, it works perfectly fine. As a matter of fact, if you have a front-wheel drive vehicle with snow tires, it will handle better in the snow than an all-wheel drive car that just has regular tires. And of course, if you're going to put snow tires on an all-wheel drive vehicle, you gotta buy 4 snow tires to begin with. Where with a front-wheel drive, you can run snow tires on the front-wheel drive part and put your regular tires on the back and it'll go perfectly fine. Just realize that you're getting into an extra expense if you buy an all-wheel drive vehicle. The equipment to check it out, hey, it doesn't cost much at all. And it is multi-purpose. I've used these things to find water leaks in houses because water makes a lot of noise. The closer you get to the leak, the louder the noise gets. This thing, or the one with clamps, works perfectly fine for finding where any kind of noise is coming from. So the next time your car starts complaining and making odd noises, now you know how to make that noise quiet down by discovering what it is and how to fix the correct part without wasting money guessing, well, I think it's this, replace that. No, I think it's that. No. Pinpoint it, get a little machine, find out exactly where the sound's coming from, then you can go from there. It might be a sound that you'll say, oh, I'll live with that sound. It runs okay. For example, if your fuel injector's clicking away, right? You find out it's the number 3 injector, but your car runs perfectly fine. Doesn't trip any misfires on that cylinder, won't have a code for misfire cylinder number 2 if it's the 2 injector, right? I've had people driving cars with clicking fuel injectors for 5 or 6 years. If they still run okay, a lot of them just make a little bit of noise, especially the modern ones that have those high pressure GDI injectors. They tend to be noisy. But at least you can know where the noise is coming from, and then you can decide, is this something you want to fix, or are you just going to turn the radio up? So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.